Hello LumaTouch fans, welcome to another episode. Before we get started with today's content, I want to give you an update on the contest that we're currently running, which is using the LumaFusion titler to make your very best title. So first of all, thank you to all the customers who have submitted entries so far. We've been blown away by the number of entries we've received and the caliber. To acknowledge all the hard work that you've done, we've decided to up the ante for this particular contest and offer the winner of the contest a brand new iPad Air. The winner of this contest will receive an iPad Air, a LumaTouch t-shirt, and some other LumaTouch swag. Other top entries will receive LumaTouch swag as well. And we'll have information about the contest below in the comments for anyone that's interested. And now I'm going to hand it over to Terri and Andrew, who are going to be talking to you about today's topic.
Okay, so here we are, and Andrew today is going to talk about where's my stuff. So there's a few places you can get stuff in LumaFusion and a few different ways of accessing them.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, one is the library.
Right, everyone's kind of familiar with the library. The library is where your stuff is. So the first thing is, there's this button here which allows you to import things from the cloud.
Yeah.
So we've got the various cloud service providers, Dropbox, really typical one, Box, Google Drive. So if you tap on the files here, then you access your iCloud Drive through the Files app. So we just open up the Files app. Let's just cancel that first.
Which is different from before, because before we had, you import right from iCloud Drive.
We had iCloud Drive. But let me show you something that's sort of kind of significant in a lot of ways. When we go to import stuff from these cloud service providers, let's go to choose Dropbox. And I'm going to choose this one. So this is just some folders, a media, video. And then I'm going to go into this one called Emerald City Guitar. So the main thing here is that when I go to look for my stuff, it's not on my device yet. It's out there in Dropbox. And so I look at inside Dropbox, and I see my clips. The only thing I can do here is tap on a clip to select it. So let's just tap on that one right there. And then the next thing I can do is to download it. We'll just download it. So that's the only thing I can do when I go to import media via our little import button right here.
Okay.
And what's going to happen is it's going to copy it from Dropbox, bring it onto our device, and it's going to put it inside the LumaFusion app, the folders inside LumaFusion. So Storyblocks is actually a cloud service provider. So there's media out there on their servers, and we can use our library to look at their stuff. We have a special kind of integration, so I like to think of this as being kind of an integrated import of stuff from wherever it happens to be through the library. So the big difference is going to be, you can tap on a clip, it puts into the preview, and we can play it before we download it. So this is really kind of important. We can press and mark in and mark out on this. Let's do mark out here. And then we can just drag the clip to the timeline. Let's put it on this track here. The moment we drag it onto the timeline, it starts to download.
I see it right there.
Right, so it downloads directly into LumaFusion. And all of the libraries, you might be surprised to know, do that same thing. So we can quickly take a look at, say, Gnarbox. Gnarbox is a Wi-Fi enabled hard drive. And to do this piece of magic, I've just got to switch to the Gnarbox Wi-Fi. Now I'm going to select Gnarbox in my library, an integrated library. And let's just go into here. Gnarbox and this one. There's a lot of drilling down through folders in this kind of activity, but here are my shots, and I'm looking at them off of the Wi-Fi enabled drive, the Gnarbox.
So if I tap on one?
If you tap on one, it loads it into the preview, and you can press play.
To something, a new form, and where I use...
And you can do the same thing, and you just choose a piece of the clip. We'll just choose a small portion of it here. Drag it to the timeline. Same thing happens. Notice how there are stripes. on top of the clip before I let it go. And the moment I let that go, it starts to download from the drive.
It's pretty fast.
Yeah, it's pretty fast.
So that's using the Wi-Fi that the drive produces.
Produces, yeah, exactly right.
So you connected your iPad to that Wi-Fi in order to communicate with the drive.
So now that bit of that clip is now on my device. And
it's in your folders of LumaFusion.
LumaFusion, yeah. So every time you download something into the library, you get a downloaded folder inside that particular library. So here's Gnarbox. It created a downloaded media folder. Tap on that, and there's that piece of that clip that I brought in. So the same thing has happened in Storyblocks as well. So there's a few. So, I'm not connected to the internet right now.
That's okay.
But we can go into the downloaded media folder and see all the clips. There's the one that I just downloaded right there.
The rest are audio.
The rest, mostly audio. There's another clip there of some kind. So, but here's the big important point about this. The same thing happens when you go to the Photos library. So the Photos library is LumaFusion looking at the Photos app on the device. So anything in your Photos app, we can access from LumaFusion. So your media is already on the device.
Or in the cloud.
Oh, or in the cloud, that's true. Yeah, tell me about that.
Well, if you have optimized iPad or iPhone media turned on, what happens is it manages the space on your device, so you wouldn't technically probably ever run out of space because it's always offloading the high-res media and replacing it with proxies. So the only way you can force it to download onto your device is by importing it to LumaFusion, which I think you're going to talk about. And also, if you were going to open a video clip in the Photos app and then press edit, you'll see that it forces a download. But we have no control over how long it stays on the device, and that I think is
that became
one of the problems before.
It became a bit of an issue, causing your LumaFusion timeline to go blank or empty.
Have missing media.
Have missing media. Yeah. So our sort of way around that was simply to do this. Let's just grab a clip from in here that I loaded up before. Here. So again, we're looking in, now we're looking at the Photos library, the integrated Photos library. And we're just going to load up a clip. We can play it, obviously. And we can do a mark in and mark out.
Now, is that in the cloud, or has that been downloaded?
That's actually downloaded. That's actually on my device.
Oh, but in the Photos app?
In the Photos app.
Okay.
Yeah, so currently it's in the Photos app. But if I drag it to the timeline, notice that, I don't know how well you can see that, but that clip's got stripes on it. It means it hasn't been downloaded.
Into our app.
But it means downloaded into our app. So what we're effectively doing is copying the media from the Photos app into the LumaFusion app.
And so, but it happens like that.
It happens very quickly, but what it does mean is
it's
taking up more space on your device than you would imagine that it ought to.
But what it does mean is you would never, no matter what you did in the cloud or whatever, you're not going to have missing media.
Makes it far less likely that you're going to have missing media.
Now say I go like this and take it off.
Yeah.
Now what do I do to get rid of that media that's been downloaded?
Oh, we're going to talk about that in the second episode.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
You're jumping the
Skipping
gun.
ahead.
But the main point is that it is going to take up more space on your device. And so that is great from one point of view. It means that it's far less likely to have missing media, as we said. But the other problem is that because it's doing that, people with a lot of photos and video already on their device are going to run out of space or are going to have issues trying to edit in LumaFusion because there's just no space available.
Well, I mean, so if you're a professional editor and you want to use this as your professional tool, what I would do is have a separate device and a separate Apple ID. So that you are managing the media really carefully, not having all of your birthday videos and whatnot, your personal videos mixed in and taking up that space.
Right.
That's probably the cleanest way, isn't it?
I think it's an ideal solution. Yeah. or yeah, it gives
It's
you a
not
lot of
necessary, but it would.
gives you a lot of advantages.
Yeah.
In the next episode, we'll talk about how to manage media more thoroughly, you know, how to go about deleting stuff that you don't need anymore, but we'll talk about that a little bit later.
I feel like I want to see where that media is in the Files app.
You do?
Because you said you're going to show me where is my stuff. I
Yeah.
want to see where it is.
Yeah, okay, so first, well, I know that we've seen it
In here,
in
but I want
here,
to see it outside.
downloaded
so-
media, right? So
Right.
even the Photos library gets downloaded media.
Yeah.
But if we want to see it in the Files app, we just go to the Files app, we go to On My iPad or On My iPhone. LumaFusion is right there. We tap into that. We have the folders that we use inside LumaFusion. So when you go in here, just be super careful that you don't move things around. You don't sort of arbitrarily start deleting stuff or renaming stuff because
Yeah.
everything could get a little bit.
So it would be for the most part.
No, it would
User
be
media?
right here. This thing called Library
Oh, but
Media.
this would be where stuff imported from Dropbox. And,
Yes, that's
so
right.
let's see,
It's
AirDrop,
Dropbox.
Dropbox, iCloud Drive,
And we can look in Dropbox here.
and you see the folders that it came from,
Yeah,
right?
and there's a couple of things here.
Okay.
So there's the clip that we downloaded earlier.
Okay, and then the library media was the stuff that you,
This is the stuff that
A photo
belongs to our
library.
library.
oh,
So
including the
these are
iPhoto library?
Yeah, so this is the
Okay.
downloaded. These are the clips that are downloaded into LumaFusion from the Photos app in this particular case, or downloaded into LumaFusion from Storyblocks.
Yeah.
Now we just talked about how do we get video media into LumaFusion? Where does it go? But there are other things that we can import too. We can import LUTs, import title presets that we might have made. But let's say I've uploaded a zip file onto Dropbox that contains a few different LUTs,
Oh, yeah.
and maybe a few other things. We'll see what's in there.
Title presets?
Possibly title presets. So the way we can access that is through import media.
Okay.
We just sort of think of zip files as being media in a way. So let's go do that. Dropbox.
Oh, we have to put the internet back on because we had it set to go to
That's
Gnarbox.
right. That's right.
That only takes a minute. Here. Okay.
So we want to. I'm going to go to Dropbox because I know I've got a zip file in there
Okay.
that we can use. So Dropbox, Luma Touch, QA, and we're going to go into A Media, and then let's see, test LUTs, and then test zipped package. There we
Okay.
go. I think this is something.
Creative naming there.
Yeah, so zipped LUTs for, and I can't read the rest, but you just tap on it. Oh, actually, let's just change this quickly to here, and then. Okay, so .zip. So it says zip LUTs for testing in iOS.
Okay, I'm going to import it.
Yeah.
But you could
Okay.
put in there title presets, color presets, effect presets,
Yeah.
media.
You can even put
do
media in there, so you can do like
PNG
a
files.
zipped up file full of all different
You could
things.
put a project in there. No?
No.
Can you?
No.
Oh. Okay, so what does that say?
So it says special files import zip files have been extracted and media placed in the imported library. Other content like presets, fonts, and LUTs will be added to the appropriate clip editors. So we click OK. Well, let's just go in here. You have to take my word for it when I say that I hadn't previously imported these LUTs right here. I hadn't.
Okay.
So those are the ones that were part of that zip package. I don't actually know whether there were any other. No, these presets were in here previously.
Okay. But they could have had
But they could
all
have
of
been
that. Okay.
in there, yeah. And I think that's
And then title presets would have gone into the titles
titler,
and
yeah,
so on.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly right, yeah. And I think for the moment that's
What we
everything that I want to talk
Okay,
about.
so next week we're going to talk about what?
Next week we're going to talk about protecting and deleting your stuff.
Yes.
Okay, in a
Sounds
safe
like a good
way.
idea.
Okay.
All right, well, thanks for joining us today. And we will finish up this conversation next week, or actually in 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah.
And we appreciate you watching, and thank you.
Thanks. Okay.
Great. Well, thank you so much for that overview, Andrew. The media management was very educational and we learned a lot.
So.
Yeah, you and Terri were great.
Okay, good.
So now we're going to do some questions from the audience. So go ahead and send some questions and we'll take as many as we can here today. To get started, we received one question about someone who has an iPhone with limited storage and they were curious how they could go about using their iPhone with limited storage and what workarounds there might be.
Yeah, I guess the short answer is there's no great workarounds. The best thing is to just investigate and really understand how you can move media on and off your device and what all the different methods are. So we looked at cloud storage. That's one way of taking media off and bringing it back on. But there are other things that we can do too. You can connect to, if you have access to a Mac or a PC, there are applications that you can run on there, like iMazing or iExplorer, which allow you to access your device just like it was a drive or something. You could find your media, take the media off, and then later on put the media back on. There are issues around doing that. You really need to figure out the correct workflow for your situation to make sure that the media does reconnect. But that's really what you have to really get used to. There's no sort of simple solution.
Right. Well, and looking ahead to iOS 13, which seems like it'll be out later in the fall, what can people expect in terms of support for that?
Well, yeah, we're looking at a lot of different things, and I guess the big one is being able to connect a USB-C drive to the newer iPad Pros, which have the USB-C connector, and then you would be able to access that drive via our library. You'll have a new library item called Files, and it's basically an access to the Files app. And within that, you can either find things already on your device, for example, Filmic. You can find media in the Filmic folder, or you can go to your USB-C drive and bring media in that way. So that's like a really good new feature with iOS 13.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be a game changer.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Lots of new options. So Jay Noggle, who runs the LumaFusion user group, was asking where that cache folder is stored, and if we could talk about that kind of briefly.
Well, a cache folder, yeah, well, let's see. We've got this on here. The cache folder is basically, and don't do this unless you really kind of feel confident about what you're doing. But the cache folder is found in the file. You can go to the Files app on my iPad or on my iPhone, and then you'll find LumaFusion in here. And library media is where it is. And so we can find, these are what we refer to as the cache folders, or we also call them the downloaded media folder in each particular library. Mm-hmm. But this is where they're found, and so you can go into there and see your stuff.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Okay.
And so if someone is working with maybe a Android phone and then is trying to use LumaFusion on an iPad, what would be a good way to get their media off of an Android onto an iPad?
Yeah, I don't have the answer instantly, but we do have an FAQ on our website.
That
describes how to do that. And that was written by Keith, who's our operator here today. And our intern Nell also uses an Android phone to shoot her video, and she uses the same method that Keith describes in the FAQ. So we know it works.
Yeah, so we do play nicely with Android.
Yeah, we
it
can.
works.
Yeah.
We can. So if this was another customer question that someone sent in previously, if you are having issues with Osmo Pocket Media, how would you go about resolving that?
Yeah, the Osmo, the easiest thing to do. So the problem with the Osmo Pocket Media is that the codec isn't perfectly compatible with iOS, so there's issues around its playback. And so when we bring that into LumaFusion, the playback is not great. We notice that particularly if going through a transition, things freeze up. And so the only thing we can really do with that is to optimize the project, optimize and consolidate the project, which essentially is copying the media, making new copies optimizing the media as we copy it. And then that new media is the stuff that you would then want to edit with. And it'll perform perfectly well.
Okay, fantastic. Let's double check to see if there's any other questions we can touch on here. People are wondering just in general how we're coming along with XML export and where that is.
Yeah, so XML, we're still working on it. It's coming along very well. We've been testing on it recently. There's still some more things to be done to get that ready for release. And we're definitely hoping that it'll be here before the end of the year. I actually feel pretty confident about that. So yeah, it's still happening. We're still working on it.
Hard at work. And actually, we're going to be heading out soon to Amsterdam.
Right.
We're going to IBC. When's that, the 11th, I think?
Starts on 11th or 12th.
11th or
Maybe
12th.
it's the 12th. Runs through to the 18th.
The 18th.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
And I think that's all for today. So until next time, we'll see you.
See ya.